What if the downfall of a hit show was sealed in one single moment? Picture this, a series that redefined the superhero genre, only to collapse under the weight of its own ambition. That's the story of The Boys, a show that started as a sharp satire of power and corruption, only to become a cautionary tale about how to burn out a franchise. Let me break this down for you. When The Boys first hit Prime Video, it felt like a breath of fresh air. Here was a superhero story that didn't shy away from blood, guts, or the uncomfortable truths about fame and control. It mocked Marvel's polished heroism, skewered online fandom culture, and even took jabs at Amazon itself. For a while, it was the anti-Avengers, raw, unapologetic, and unafraid to get messy. But then something shifted. The show's identity began to unravel, and it all started with a decision that felt wrong. You see, Season 3 was the moment The Boys peaked, and then immediately fell off a cliff. The season built up to a massive showdown between Butcher and Homelander, a battle that felt like the natural endpoint for every character's arc. It was the kind of climax that leaves you breathless, the kind that makes you think, okay, that's it. They've done everything they needed to do. But instead of ending there, the show kept going. And that's where the problems began. Why? Because when you don't kill your villain in the moment that feels earned, you're left with a hollow shell of a story. The Boys tried to keep Homelander alive for seasons 4 and 5, but it became a crutch. The plot meandered, characters felt directionless, and the satire that once felt biting now felt stale. It's like when a joke gets repeated too much, it loses its punch. Homelander, once a symbol of corporate greed and toxic masculinity, became a punchline that no one wanted to hear anymore. Here's what really bugs me. The show's creators tried to pivot to make Homelander a Trump-like figure, which initially felt daring. But satire only works when it's ahead of the curve. When real life starts mirroring the parody, the joke dies. Think about South Park's Mr. Garrison as Trump, funny at first, but eventually just depressing. The Boys stumbled into the same trap. The more Homelander mirrored real-world authoritarianism, the less it felt like a critique and more like a grim reflection of our reality. And let's talk about the pacing. Season 4 felt like a desperate attempt to prolong the story, throwing in side plots that went nowhere. Season 5 was even worse, a convoluted chase that ended with a fight that was just a carbon copy of Season 3's climax. It wasn't just boring, it was insulting to the audience. You don't build up a battle for 10 episodes only to repeat it with less energy. That's not storytelling, it's laziness. So, what does this say about the state of superhero media? It's a reminder that even the most subversive shows can't escape the same pitfalls as their predecessors: over-reliance on a single villain, a lack of fresh ideas, and the pressure to keep churning out content. The Boys had the chance to end on a high note, but instead, it chose to drag its feet. And in doing so, it taught us a harsh lesson. Sometimes, the best ending is the one that doesn't try to be everything to everyone. Now I'm curious, do you think The Boys could have been saved if they'd ended after Season 3? Or was its downfall inevitable once it lost its satirical edge? Let me know in the comments. Because if there's one thing this show proved, it's that even the most fearless stories can fall apart if they don't know when to stop.